All right, Jason Arona here at the Indoor National Series Final. We got Joe Pillars, Brent Telke, and we got a little interview going on here with the guys traveling the series this year. Joe, we'll start with you just because it's kind of a little bit new for you this year doing the Indoor National Series with us, and talk to us a little bit about your experience here with Team Yokomo this year and kind of bringing a team around the events.
Okay. Yeah, this is the first year we've done the complete series. I know with Kyosho in the past, we've always tried to hit a few of them that were kind of local, but we see the exposure with the customers, and you get to hit a lot of different tracks throughout the year. So it's been real fun helping Yokomo grow. We keep growing, and we're kind of just keep looking forward to towards the future.
So, you're racing personally at several of the events here today. You're running some 13.5 stadium truck. Truck's kind of a new thing for Yokomo, and so talk to us about your experience with the new truck.
Yeah, I mean, coming here, I like to do a little testing at the races. I think it's the best way to test. So with Much More, we have a lot of the new 13.5 stuff, new Blinky software batteries. So I figured he would be a good shot if I had the chance to run it. If everybody is running smooth, then I can have a chance to practice with the truck a little bit. The truck I'm running is actually the one that Mayfield built and tested with at home. And then, I mean, honestly, I just put my electronics in it, like, same shock oil, same everything. And then that's what I'm running this weekend.
So, and then kind of flipping over to Brent here. Brent, you actually ran some 13.5 truck too a little bit this year. You got a little bit experience there. Of course, you always kind of jump back to run the two-wheel mod plus 40 plus, and then you can run one car, do the whole race, plus help the guys. But as long as we're on the truck subject, let's talk a little bit about you running some truck and then 13.5 truck in general.
Yeah, we started out the series debuting the T6.1. So I felt it was important to get a couple of those out there. So I think Tacoma is where I ran it there and had a good time. It's a little bit more challenging, just kind of always worrying about the power side of things and charging the battery and timing and gearing and all that stuff. So that was a little bit of an eye-opening experience to start with, but got to figure it out in the end, and it was fun. My position, I'm not really the guy to race 13.5. Mm-hmm. This year we kind of went to 13.5 for the series for the two truck classes, and I think it's been successful. It's helped grow the total numbers of those two classes, combining them together to the 13.5 has really helped, I think, grow truck racing and kind of weeding some people out and weeding some people in and evening out the playing field for the stock guys and the mod guys. We've done a couple of the demo classes with the modified truck. We got one here this weekend. Did one at the summer round, kind of preparing for the nationals. I think I ran truck at that one. But yeah, just this weekend, just two-wheel drive, 40 plus and open.
So, kind of your other class, especially as we mentioned, is the 40 plus class. You just came off of IOCC, and you ran a great race there. You ran obviously the over 40 plus the two-wheel. Kind of explain, when you're running those two classes, bouncing back and forth, trying to compete first, one way, then kind of another way, and then your IOCC experience in general. I mean, I know that was kind of an interesting thing for you, and tell us about your experience there and then running those two classes.
Well, two-wheel drive mod is my favorite class. It has been for the past 15, 20 years. So just having the opportunity to run my favorite car, my favorite class 2 times in one round is a huge perk for me. It's something I really enjoy, and then obviously the added track time helps us work on setup or work on tires or lines or whatever it may be. But one of the added bonuses I wasn't really expecting, and it's kind of grown over the past couple of years with the 40 plus classes, you kind of get a little bit more camaraderie and a little bit more joking, all the old fart jokes and Geritol and all this other stuff that comes up when you're on the stand is, it's kind of fun to give each other a little bit of hard time. But on the track, I try to be as respectful as I can of the guys in that class, because I know it's a big gap range, and sometimes we go to the races and there's I've been beating the class. Al Horns beat me this year. Walencia and Scott Brown both beat me in Tacoma, so it's not like it's a cakewalk at times. So I just enjoy the racing, and you get to run it every now and then, so we get to BS up there on the stand a little bit. It was kind of that same way at the IOCC. Chris Champlin obviously runs a lot of carpet, and I knew he would be fast there, and he's really consistent, which is something that I've tried to teach our team as a whole. And he's one of our most consistent drivers. May not be the fastest, but he's really consistent. So I knew he would be there, and he had to run a clean race the whole time. But overall, that race was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. The schedule's maybe a little longer this year than it was in years past. I think they maybe added some more practice or 2 rounds of seating, something that kind of added to the longer days. But having it over Thanksgiving wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. My wife came up, your wife came up, my parents were there, your in-laws were there. So we kind of made it a family atmosphere, and there were other people there that were there with their families. And some people it's a great time of year because they don't have to take time off work or off school, and they're able to spend the holiday with their RC family. And other people, I understand, they want to be home and do their traditional family holiday. So all in all, it's been a good last couple weeks. This is 6 in a row for me, so I'm ready to have a weekend off, but I'm enjoying my first trip to Beach RC for sure.
Good. And we'll switch back to Joe here. And Joe, a little bit different conversation here. We're going to go into more of the hardcore side. You got, multiple good drivers now on the Yokomo team. Of course, we got Mayfield, we got JP Richards, you got Max. Talk to us about kind of working with these guys on the series this year. You've had some experience with Mayfield, and then JP running a great race over in Massachusetts at RC Excitement. So talk to us about kind of that experience, kind of weighing it against, kind of your Kyosho experiences in the past.
Yeah, I mean, when I was at Kyosho, we always had Jared at the races. So when you got there, you always had a shot to win. So the cars were always good. He's a very good driver. Everything always worked well. And then switching over to Yokomo, it's like, you're pretty lucky to work with someone like Mayfield because once again, you're working with someone that can win at any moment. He's one of the best guys in the world, just like Jared. So it's like, that part is really cool. And then we also have JP and Max, which is a side at Kyosho we really weren't able to do. So I mean, JP and Max can make the main anywhere in the country, and they all feed off each other. They're good with working with setups, and it's just a good environment. I mean, everybody likes each other. What's cool is for this weekend we actually got a kind of like a condo style apartment because everything's really cheap here being the wintertime. So we have like a 3-bedroom apartment. Everybody kind of has their own room. You have a living room, so when you get back, everybody can kind of hang out, kick it, talk setup. Sometimes at the track, things get heated or, it's just a lot going on. So when you get back, you can kind of, reflect, kind of see what's going on and get a good game plan going, for the next day.
So, in working with those guys, I mean, are you learning anything in general about improving the cars this year? And kind of, I know Yokomo's been, when Ryan won the Worlds, there was kind of this, you had new Yokomo cars were coming out, the 4-wheel, you had a new 2-wheel version, but now it's kind of settled back, and the guys are trying to, get up to speed with the current vehicles. You kind of learn anything at these events and tracks that have been helping other people that you've noticed around?
Yeah, what's cool is, we found that Mayfield setups pretty much everywhere we go work for a lot of the people. And then what, JP and Max, what they can do as well is they're also, very, very good drivers. So they can bounce stuff off that setup or kind of help, give new ideas on what to try. And honestly, with JP in Ohio, Max is in North Carolina, and Mayfield's in Arizona, it's like we're getting a lot of these customers and team drivers, support to what works best in their area. So I know, Mayfield out at Hobby Action and some of those higher grip tracks, it doesn't always work if you come to a track like Beach RC, so to speak, where it's, it could be slick in the beginning and now it's getting higher grip. It's, you kind of get all sides of the opinion for, just to make the stuff as good as you can.
And kind of going back with Brent, you just alluded to it a little bit ago about being here at Beach RC, your first time, my first time, and I believe Joe's first time. But talk to us about what you've seen here so far. What's impressing you with being in this area? And, even Joe talked about, the time of the year, the hotels are inexpensive. And we talked about Ron Sure, we're staying on the water at our place. And, talk to us about being here at Beach RC. What do you notice in being here?
Well, first off, Brent Densford's a great host. He obviously cares a lot about the hobby and the sport, and puts a lot of effort into not only the racing side of it that we're doing today, but if you pan around the hobby shop, he's got a fully stocked hobby shop. Lots of parts from all the major manufacturers, from option parts to OEM stuff to little trinkets here and there. And I think that's important when you're supporting a hobby that people like to individualize. So, the hobby shop is one of the cleanest, one of the most put together places I've seen in our travels. A lot of that's just a byproduct of the size that he has. He's able to kind of spread things out and use that to his advantage. But the track is awesome. Obviously one of the biggest things coming here was they talk about the square track, and it's a little bit different, but driving it on the I really don't even feel it. I just think that there's a kind of a short shoot down the left side and almost no straightaway is the way it kind of feels when you're driving on the track. So that doesn't really bother me with the proportions or anything like that. The driver stands, higher than maybe some, but not too high. Pit area is nice, clean, big, open. The lighting's good. The grip's been really consistent. We're not burning in tires, which is nice. That's one thing I really dislike about some of the tracks we go to. So overall, it's been a great experience. Like you mentioned, we're staying at a hotel. I think it's got maybe 18 floors or something like that, right on the water. I mean, you can see why this place is super popular when the weather's right.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun to come here during that time frame, but might be a little bit more difficult to get up on those early Saturday mornings.
Yeah, and one thing I want to touch on too is just kind of bouncing back. It's not that long ago we were at the Worlds in Australia. You guys picked up a huge win with in the 8 scale buggy class, kind of that one you haven't been able to get yet, and really exciting for the team. And tell us, kind of how that feels. How did it go back at the shop? Kind of reporting back that you kind of got that 8 scale win. And I know we had talked before and said, hey, you guys got a lot of people in contention here. Might be one of the best shots you have at winning this thing, and it ended up happening.
Yeah, I think it's just a culmination of a lot of hard work over a lot of years by a lot of different people. Our 8 skill program started way back. Almost one of the first weeks I worked at Associated, I heard about a prototype 8 skill and that we were going to be getting into it after Losi's success with their 8. And at that time, Torrance de Guzman was the guy that designed the first RC8, along with Cliff and the other guys at the shop. And we had a lot of growing pains, no doubt. That car evolved to a point to where it really just needed a complete overhaul or a redesign to better match the surfaces and the events we were going to. Prototyped a couple different versions, almost produced one, and ended up kind of backtracking and doing a lot more development work on our side. Unfortunately, it kind of stalled the whole 8 skill side, but I think what you're seeing now is the byproduct of that hard work that happened during that year of downtime. At that time, that's when Ryan left the team, Mayfield left the team, and we kind of had to regroup our 8 skill program in the U.S. and it's growing. We got a good group of guys in the U.S. and you go to all these big races back here, whether it's the Fall Brawl last weekend, or Psycho Nitro or AMS or whatever it may be, even Nitro Challenge. We got guys out on the West Coast that are doing work too. That just shows me that the platform is really stable, and guys are confident in it, very durable. You don't have to put a lot of option parts into it. So that's the point we've wanted to get to for a long time, and it feels like we're there, and now we can focus on the really fine details. But as far as the Worlds win, I mean, Davide was unreal. I mean, there was kind of an ebb and a flow between him and Mayfield, I would say, as far as pace throughout the whole event. And it just came down to that Sunday, or I guess it was Saturday, being the best you could be. And that's when the real cream just, does it.
Yeah.
And, when you're in those situations, it's hard to make yourself do it. You almost have to just let it happen. You put too much pressure on yourself or you overthink it. These guys are so good that if they can just naturally be in the zone, they're going to be towards the top. And the hour-long main event was pretty interesting. I was pitting Cavalieri, so a lot of my time was, 99% of my time was focused on him, and with Lewis, getting the pits right, and giving Ryan his best shot to do well. And I think he peaked in the main event, which is when you want to peak. Maybe a adjustment here or there, a compound, whatever it may be. He might have been a little bit faster, but overall, I think he was pleased with the result at the end. Obviously, he wants to win every time, like we all do. But I listened to your RIP podcast, and you were talking with the guys there about the overcast that came in right before the track, or right before the main event. And I think the tire selection by Davide really was nailed at that point, and maybe caught some of the other guys off. Looking at the cars afterwards, you could see that his car basically wore to about 90% tread pattern, which I think is probably what you want, where other guys looked like they were maybe 20% worn.
Yeah.
So, as far as Davide's program, he's very consistent. He runs the same setup within a couple adjustments, shock oil for temperature and picking the right tire for the track, and everything else pretty much remains the same. So, he knows what he likes. Some of our guys tried that. Some people liked it, some people didn't. But in the end, I was really proud of the whole team. We had a lot of guys in the quarters and the semis, and ended up with 3 in the main with obviously Davide and Ryan and McBride. So super proud of the guys. Had a lot of fun at the event. It was long for sure, but one of the best worlds I've been to. Joe already talked about the Airbnb thing. We did a similar situation, and it's kind of fun being around the guys in a different situation, but still being able to kind of do your own thing if you need to go take a nap or whatever. It was a unique experience that I would do again. I'd like to cut a couple days off if we could, but overall it was a lot of fun.
So bounce to Joe. Joe, you've been through all the 8-scale races too with Jared in those days, but this year, you only ran that one race with Mayfield. You did maybe the other race at A Main, but tell us about kind of watching from a distance. Being a little bit not necessarily removed, but not quite as in the fire as you had been in the past. And is there anything kind of you missed by watching, or you kind of was like nice to get a break, or how did it go watching sort of these races and the worlds and all that stuff?
Yeah, my first 8-scale worlds was 2010 in Thailand. So, since then I've been to every one, and I know we've done a couple, warm-up races at some other worlds going into them. So it's a lot of travel and time invested in it. For this year it was a little different. I helped Mayfield at a few of the 8-scale races, like you said, and then for me it came down a little bit to having a little bit more time with my family. I have a daughter that's 7 now, and my son is 3, so it's like spending a little more time with them with such a long world schedule. I mean, I think people were gone 12 to 14 days. And another big part of it was last year I kind of got a slow jump on the Yokomo team and the Much More team because everything kind of happened towards the end of the year. So I could really put in a lot of time. And I mean, while everybody was at the Worlds, I mean, I was grinding, getting resumes in, sending stuff out. And I mean, by the time everyone got back from the Worlds, I mean, I had probably 70% of our team already signed or new people, and already looking towards the future. So I think that was a pretty good advantage for for us, what we had going on. Obviously, I'm not really linked to anybody 8-scale wise at the moment, so I think next year moving forward, maybe I'll be able to hit a few more races. I think that's going to work out pretty well. But it was cool. I mean, I obviously missed it. I don't think I felt the nerves you feel on main day at the Worlds. I don't think there's anything like that, even as a pit guy, because you have the drivers, they're working on their cars, they're preparing. I mean, you've been there for 10, 12 days, and now it's main day. So it's the driver has to be focused, the pit guys, everybody has to be in sync, and a couple of issues in the pits or just some stuff going on down there. It's just not good. So I know Brent probably feels the same way. It's like probably I would say the semi is almost probably the most pressure, because you want to get to the main. It's like you're there the whole time. Some weird flame out or someone jumps across the track and hits you unexpectedly and you break. You're just done. Yeah. So, and I know we went through that in Argentina. We had 2 of the fastest guys there with Jared and Ryan, and both leading the semi or top 3, and having issues and then not making the main. And I know that feeling watching the main from behind the fence. But it's like I didn't ever want that again. It's like even as nerve-wracking it is being in the pits, but you know what you're doing. You've practiced it a million times, and it was a weird feeling too, because I know we club raced that night at our track PDX RC Underground, and I think it was actually one of our Rockstar races. It got done about midnight, and we turned on the Worlds, and it was right about time. So we went to a local bar, kind of just sat there, and we watched the entire 1 hour main. So it was definitely a unique experience. It was also funny too, because during that time, Paul King was actually in Oregon as well. So, and him and I have went to these since 2010. So, we've went to all these 8-scale races, and we ended up going to a Lakers Blazer game. So we're there, watching, LeBron and the Blazers play, and it's just kind of weird to reflect. It's like, you definitely miss being there. It's like he said it multiple times with Cody. It's like, it's just because you're not there. It's it doesn't mean you don't want to be. It's just sometimes it's worse when you can't be. So it was I got a lot of stuff done during that time. I definitely don't think I want to miss another one. As much as I said I didn't really mind missing it, it's like in the end you miss it. It's like if that's what you do, you like to do it. So.
Well, good. Well, it's good to check in with both of you guys. You're obviously real active in the race community. We want to talk to you both at the same time, kind of doing similar type positions in the industry. Both here this weekend at the Indoor National Finals, representing their respective companies. Glad that they could be here racing this weekend, and look forward to a great event. Thanks, Joe, and really appreciate it. And good luck to the team.
Cool. Thank you.
And Brent, thanks as well, and good luck to you guys this weekend.
Thanks, Jay.